purpose. Put this down. Hi. Just let you know who I am. I am Missy Rene, Missy Rene Bouquets. And of course I'm nervous. No, look at the camera. You're not supposed to look at the side. You're supposed to look at the camera, right? Well, anyways, I sell these baskets. If you know me, everyone knows and has. And my words are lost again. And I'm looking at the wrong place. I'm going to have to put an orange dot right there. Okay, let's try this again. You know what I did? I actually put one of these leaves out of my trash can over the camera right there for my screen, so I can't see myself because it's distracting. Can't look straight at the camera when you're doing this. Anyways, just want to come on here today and let you guys kind of in on behind the scenes of when I put together a basket for an order. I know it would have helped me if I would have been able to see someone do one. I know I've developed my own little style. I may not show all of it just due to business purposes, but the majority of it will be something so that you will be able to create your own. And pretty much everything I have bought today is from Hobby Lobby. So, ladies or guys, pretty simple just to run and grab your items. I know I do have a wholesale license, but these items today will be from Hobby Lobby. If not, I'll try to remember to tell you if it's not. Bought them from there. So, first of all, these are the baskets, hanging baskets. Of course, you know they're simple if you've seen them there. Come with the rope attached, easy hanging. Sometimes I don't like how wide they are. I kind of will bend these down. Of course, that just kind of depends, you know, just on the dimensions if you want it to go between a glass door on your front door, if you have one of those storm doors. So let's go ahead and get started. You guys are probably thinking, man, this lady, she is not going to be interesting at all. I'm going to cut my tabs off. And you do need to work these baskets sometimes. You know, they come with all these little cute little natural curlicues from the vine that's grown on them. But a lot of times, if you get too many, you can just cut them down and leave the ones that you want to be seen. And also, you have to hang your basket and decide which side do you want to show. Do you want that side or this side? Right now, I can tell you, I don't know if you can see this, but it has a little natural knot right there. Kind of looks like a belly button to me. Maybe that can be a bumper guard on the back door area. We'll just put that towards the back. And I will decide this is my front view. You just go in here and trim up what's sticking out, or you don't want someone poking their fingers. Those things do not feel well. Or now usually I always put a ribbon across here due to that fact of having my foam, my floral foam. And please forgive me. I'm having a hard time looking right where I should on the camera. I'm just looking at the basket. So. But it will lay right there, so I will lay a bow across here, a ribbon with a bow attached. To kind of disguise that, you always want to hide your mechanics. And I'll show you, just go through here. Some of them are in the way when you put the bow on. So just go through here and clip them off. And yes, I'm using my cheap cobalt tools, but they work for me. I need to buy the ones everyone else uses. Sometimes I wonder, will they make a difference, or will they just wear out just like these are starting to wear out after you've used them so many times? I do have another pair. I need to get them out of the garage and start using them. But usually along the side of these baskets, they'll have little extra pieces that are just too long. I don't know, the people that create these, I give them credit because it's a lot of work putting these together with all the wiring that's entwined between them. But I'm sure they have to make so many that it's a time issue. They just quickly get them through there, and a lot of the pieces are still sticking out. So you want to clean that up so that will look good, whether you're selling them or you're putting them on your door. Okay, I may go back later and cut some off. Sometimes I'll back away and look at if there's little curlicues sticking out where the light hits them, and I don't want that shining like when you go to take photos, because that's because I put them in my shop. But this one here, I'm kind of creating because I need one to go with some arrangements I have in my house. And if some of you like it and you would rather just purchase it, I can go ahead and just let me know in the comments below, and I will post it on my shop online on Etsy. That's at Missy Rene Bouquets. But Renee's is with the S on the end on there. Missy Renee's Bouquets at Etsy. Or Missy Rene Bouquets /Etsy.com. Let me get that just right. Missy Renee's Bouquets.Etsy.com. I think it's the new link that they have given us. They're starting to give us back a percentage if we draw a traffic to their shop instead of charging us so many fees. So it'll help if you just type in Missy Renee's Bouquets.Etsy.com. Otherwise, just run to Hobby Lobby, grab you some of these supplies, and I got to stick on these somehow. Alright, I will show you. These are the florals I'm going to go with today. So these are our paper wildflowers. That I always love these, and I never buy enough to have in stock. They were my most popular flower when I first started. Then they worried me because I didn't think they were carrying them anymore. But they only come seasonal. Okay, now, to me, these are peonies. If I am wrong, you can shoot me a comment below. Let me know. But I just love these. They're neutral. I know, sure, they have that artificial look to them, but yet they're got some pretty realistic things going on inside of them with the little coloration, you know. So I had to run and grab me some of these yesterday to match the other arrangements I have in my living room. Okay, these I do not care for. I like the look of them from a distance, but dealing with them when you go to work with them, and I'm sure the ladies at the cash register don't appreciate it. You go lay them down on their counter, and if these little styrofoam balls come disconnected, they're everywhere. Otherwise, they look beautiful. They have that natural look to them. So I told myself at one point I was going to quit using them, but I'm back. Ate my words. And then these, you can just take them. You always take your sprays or your bundles. Just spread them apart. Make them fuller if you're going to keep them whole and use them. But if not, these are very easily pulled apart, and you can have separate pieces to work with, which is what I'm going to be doing. So, okay. Now, first step is, well, sorry, we've got to do this. This always is a very important part to me. They put these together with little zip ties down here. They used to tie them with wires, but now they put zip ties. And they're never cut flush enough for me. I'm sure they can always snag you, but I always turn them towards the inside and snip those off. Try to get them as flush as you can. This one they got pretty good. Well, I'm proud of them for that. Okay. Now, next step is stuffing this thing with my Spanish moss. You know, you can go with the green or the more grayed out look, depending on what arrangement you're making. Today, I'm going to go ahead and go with the green. And I'll get you a piece and show you. This is the color here. But I start with a small piece, and I will push it all the way in as much as I can, because I want this coverage in the basket. I don't want to see, you're still going to be able to see some daylight through the basket when it's hanging, But when it's flush against the door is going to block some of the light from coming through. But if you hold it up in the light, you will be able to see through these. So I take a small piece, and I will work it. My lovely tool right here. Never throw away your stems. They always come in handy for something, whether if you need to add length to a shorter flower, or use it as a tool like I'm doing. So I just work that down in there to get it to the corner and most of the way to the bottom. You will not always be able to get it to look smooth as you want it, flush across there. And then I'm going to get some more pieces. And I'm sorry I don't have the camera angled where it should be for you guys. I'll try to hold this up so you can see. Take my next piece on this side now. Work it down in there. You don't want to smash too hard because then it's just going to clump up in a big old chunk and you can't work it down in there. It'll get too tight. And then you will really waste a lot of your moss too. All have it build up in one spot more than what you actually need. Sometimes you can take your needle nose pliers and you can go in there and grab and work it down too to get it where you want it. And you know, I don't always have it just like some customers may prefer it to be totally all the way down. Sometimes I like to see it sticking out. Get that little natural look of moss. But then sometimes I don't. Like, see, I push it back up in there because you get too much going on down there. It draws your eye away from the attention of what you're creating. Okay. I've got the majority down in there now where I need it. Now you can just take bigger amounts. And you got to pull that out of there. You don't want to pull it apart too much because if you see my table right now, I have tons of little baby pieces of broken moss all over it. This is almost, well, worse, messier than these flowers with these little styrofoam balls on them. That's the thing to deal with. I have thought about just giving up making baskets and just go straight to doing the grapevine wreaths so I won't have all this mess. You can ask my kids. Mom's constantly sweeping the floor. You can tell when I've had to make orders because I've got it everywhere. And also it's got that green dye in it. You'd be surprised how much that rubs off on you and on your workspace, tabletop, or whatever you're working off of. I've gotten to the post office before, or just get out in the daylight, put your hands on the steering wheel, and you look at your hands and you're like, oh my gosh, what did I get into? Someone's going to think I got something wrong with me. My fingernails, the whites of your fingernails, green. I mean, not real bad, but noticeable to me. Embarrassing. We'll stay on for a little while. Okay. Now I don't know if you can see how it's starting to cover up that light passing through there. And you know, I've seen a lot of other baskets that's been put together from different shops, and I don't see the moss down in there covering their stems. You can see their stems. I don't know if they're just doing it for ease of taking pictures to get products in their shop, and maybe the actual one that comes to the customer is put together better. But me, when I shop online, I zoom in on them pictures. I try to see what I'm getting, read all the reviews. Maybe I study it out too much and then a lot of times talk myself out of things. Okay. Now you kind of got to leave you an area right there for that floral foam when you're going to put it down in there. And what you can do is you can buy these individual. You can get them at Dollar Tree and get the little square ones. You're still going to have to cut them to size. If some baskets, they may fit exactly in there. I can't remember But I buy the bigger sheets because it's just more cost effective. And then I just take my ruler over there and I'll go in with my knife. It's inside that sandpaper wrapped around it for safety purposes right now. And I'll just cut me a whole bunch of little squares and have them ready. So you just lay that down in there. And excuse me because I'm going to bend this up a little bit because I cut this at 2.5 inches by 4 lengthwise, 2.5 inches wide thickness of the basket to fit down in there. That's what I do. But if you don't want to bend your basket in to snug up against that, it kind of holds it. The frame goes inside there. Okay, now I've got that where I want it, and I'll open it back up just a little bit, pull that foam out, and then I've got my glue pot over here. And thank my daughter. She bought my glue pot for me as a gift for Christmas one year. I love a glue gun, but a glue pot and a glue gun are good tools to have. They both serve their own purposes. Just depends on what you're doing. But I just put glue on this side and this side. And you can see my glue has a bit specks in it from past projects. I just put it down in there. Be very careful. Do not burn yourself. Like I just touched that glue just then, and thank goodness it wasn't hot. I was kind of scared. You thought maybe my pot wasn't turned on, but it is. I just added some fresh glue to it this morning, so maybe it's not that hot yet. Sorry, I don't know if my camera view, if you're getting to see what I'm doing here. I covered my screen up with that leaf. So I didn't want to keep staring at myself, get unfocused, making sure I'm not acting so crazy, which is a very bad problem with acting crazy all the time. Sometimes we think we're being funny when we're not so funny. But you have to laugh in life, right? Okay. Let that dry a little bit. I use Gorilla Glue. To my knowledge, that is the strongest glue so far that were offered in the stores. So just let that kind of set up, and it's not going to adhere to every piece of grapevine in here. Now that's the question. I would call this grapevine. If you go on their website, they have it listed as rattan, unless they've changed that or updated it. But I would call it grapevine. Y'all can tell me what you think. Okay. Once that feels like it's going to start holding good, and I've got this wire frame that the basket is made out of kind of snug up against it to hold it. I mean, don't get me wrong, when you go putting your flowers in, it is going to want to loosen up and move around on you. Sometimes it helps to just kind of hold it as you go to it. Put your flowers in. Okay, in a minute, I need to clean up this moss out of the way. About to get it in my stuff for breakfast. I don't know if I'm going to let you see that on the video or not. I was trying to eat my oatmeal. Got to going and getting ready to film this, and I thought, you know what? I ain't even ate anything yet today. You're going to get really, really shaky. You got to take care of yourself. You want to do your best. What are you making? Got to have energy. Okay, I'm not throwing all those little, some of them are big enough to save to use on another project. And then the rest of it, just have your trash can right there and swipe it in. And my tabletop's got a little green tint to it now and yellow. Excuse me a minute. I'm going to pause this and go wash my hands. Okay, I feel better. Don't you ever just feel that grind and you just can't focus till you get it off? Especially after I come out of the store and I've touched everything on the shelf. Feels like you just, Some of us have pet peeves more than others. Let me know what yours are. I've read people, sometimes they'll post them and I'm like, I'm pretty normal so far. Even though I'm always second guessing myself. Are you sure you really got it all together? Okay, on my other arrangements, just kind of let you know, give you a little bit of a tip here what I do. The arrangements that I make with these hydrangeas, they've got a really, this is not an arrangement put together, this is somewhat put together, but I stick my overflow in there to keep it in that vase. But you see how wide, that thick that stem is compared to the one that I'm using today. See, this one's just very thin, so I can probably stick this straight into the foam. But these here, when I go to make those, I have to actually just go ahead and, you know, when the carpenter goes to drill, put a screw in a board, he pre-drills it. Just for, you know, it helps. Keeps the wood from splitting. Well, I pre-drill basically, or puncture, hose. I'll stick this down in here and then I'll move it around a little bit, widen that hoe up as big as I need it while you hold the foam. That way it won't move around on you. But today, so far, these I think are going to work. Now, you guys are experiencing this with me. I've never made this design before. I just looked at my other ones and I thought, okay, I've got 3 florals. Have you got your bigger focal one and your medium size that goes with the colors? I'm just kind of monochromatic today. I like neutral. I feel like that you don't have to change them out as often. You know, if you want to get fun for the holidays and seasons and change it up and be a little whimsical, you could do so. But if you're too busy for that, neutral's the way to go. Softer on the eye, and it just flows. Okay. Anyways, sorry, I will get sidetracked. You guys will have to tell me. I will start talking about one thing and go into too much detail. You can ask my kids, and then look, where was I going with that? But now I remember. Just trying to tell you, you guys are experiencing this with me. I've never created this design before. I've had it in my mind, something I wanted to do, and hadn't for quite some time. I just saved these flowers for other things that I had, and I ran out. So I'm like, you know, it's fall. They've got these in the store. They don't have these in the store all year long. This one right here is tight, so it's time to get some and do something with it before they're gone again. Seems like every time I find a flower that I like, everyone else does too, and then they're gone. But I'm going to just kind of, I could do it like my other ones where I usually have 2 big flowers right here, kind of offset a little bit, and then do my filler in behind. But I've got more to work with, so I may go with more flowers this time. We will see. And sometimes I will take these leaves off if I don't like them. These are more easier on the eye. They're not so fake bright green looking. I mean, in the light right now, you got to excuse my lighting today. It's a cloudy day. We had rain all day yesterday, so the sun's trying to peek through. But just dip your stem in your glue. Y'all don't have to go with the flowers I'm using today. Let's see. I think I'm going to go ahead and put it this one in the middle, kind of towards the back a little ways. And you can bend them. It's one good thing about these flowers. You want to try to buy flowers that have wires in them all the way up, or that you can slide the leaves. This one, the leaves will not slide, but it's more forgiving with you, for you. And that glue needs to kind of set up a little bit. Okay, you want to go through here and pick out, you have several smaller ones. And I could go ahead and cut these off, but I'm just going to leave them on the bush until I'm ready to use them for another project. Okay, so one bigger one here. And I'm sorry, I am debating if this is really where I want to place the larger one. And I kind of feel like I don't. So, looky there. Simple. Glue hadn't set up yet. We'll just put more glue on it. I could trim it back down again, but I think I will just leave that length on there and just be more there to hold it in place. Put that one lower. And I bend it down so it's growing towards you. I like to see the center of the flower on that. Not every all flowers do not grow straight up. They grow towards the light too. The sun's not always straight up in the sky. Okay. Now, sometimes you have to go through the pick on. You can buy a steamer. You see how this one here I was getting ready to cut, but you see how it's kind of smashed. It's not perfectly round. Not perfectly, but you know, you can tell it got kind of squished in warehouse or wherever they kept it. So, but you can buy a steamer and steam those. Now, I personally have not bought one yet, and I need to. I hear everyone talking about them, how much they help. I've just taken a blow dryer to them and try to heat them up a little bit. You don't want to heat them too much. Some florals have some glue on there that'll cause that to come apart. But if it does, you got the glue. Put it all back together. Do not throw it away. Things cost too much these days. You can fix it back. Okay, I'm going to go down lower with this one. Just stick it in further. Maybe not that far. See right there? Just what I was talking about. And my glue is setting up fast when you don't want it to. Scoot that up a little bit. I'm going to put, this is what you do when your flower comes apart. You know, they don't really make them that permanent in wherever the place is that they make these flowers. But just put some added glue to that for more support and put it back on there. And you just really feel like it's not going down as much as I want it to. And those of you that do floral designs all the time, are you constantly peeling glue off your fingers? Because I am. If you guys can see, I've got the camera probably not angled with the best. I'll try to hold it around to you guys every now and then. Okay. Now, those are our two focal points. You know, when you do a wreath, I'd rather start with the green wreath and work my way frontwards towards the focal flower. But when I do these baskets, you could do it the other way. You're supposed to start with the back first and then layer it. But I like to put in my big flowers first and then go layer backwards, or work the back and then in the between with your smaller filler. Fill up those spaces and gaps and make it flow. Okay. I feel like I may come in and add some, I think I will put the colors in up there and the smaller one, smaller size bud, not bud, flower. I'm doing good today. Really good. And I'm trying to hurry too for everyone gets home and be like, what are you doing, Mom? I'm trying to have a regular life here. Okay. Glue on that. Now, maybe move forward a little bit more. I need to eventually, I started out with this easel thinking it would work because I was going to just do wreaths and they were big enough for these to support them. Now since I do baskets, they just fall through there. So someday I will purchase one of the other ones that's more flat surface to stabilize my basket A lot of times you'll probably see me take it off and just set it there. And it tries to get away from me when I do that, so. All right. Now, as I said, you guys are watching me create a design that I've never done before. And who knows, it may be a design that I like and keep in my shop. Now, it's good to hold your florals up and just try to get a visual. See, I want these to be softening, and then these were probably going to go in the back and kind of in between. So, yes, I will work on these next. These are wrapped in paper, so you can take them and just pull them. They may not always be so easy to separate them, but if they don't, get your wire cutters out. When you get to the last one, it's usually really taped on there. Okay. And there you go. One of my favorite pieces. I don't know if you can see that. That is like a little willow, I guess you would call it, end piece. I wanted to say cattail, but it's not a cattail. Oh. I hope y'all can understand me. Sorry. I have a little bit of a accent. Or at least that's what I've been told. Mom, what is wrong with you? When it's cold outside, you say code. Okay. I do not see where, sometimes you can find exactly right where it come off and just glue it right back. We will save him right now. Okay, hold your stems up and separate them out. They don't grow all clustered together like that. I mean, you don't want them too far apart. And then they'll have an angle going. Get the majority of the angle of the way they're going that you want to come out of your arrangement. If you want it to flow towards you, if you want it to flow more towards the back. It just depends on the piece sometimes. Or if you're putting it on the side over here, you don't want to build it straight up. That's not very pleasing to the eye. I mean, you want your focus right here, but you want some soft overflowing edges. So just hold it up and see where these flowers are wanting to lay. Kind of help them sometimes if you need another piece to come down. But I think right now I'm just going to use this one as my back main piece. And this is where what I said helps. Poke a drill in your hoe. See, I'm just going to come in back here. Let me hold that together a little better. Just sure I don't knock my thumb out. Just give you a little area started that is down enough to put your piece in. That way you don't have to struggle so hard to get that in there and lose your thumb off there. Almost didn't know if that's the piece I had in my hand. Okay. Now, did I want it this way or did I want it this way? I think I want it this way. Go back there. Put that in. You kind of need to hang your rope back up so you can see how high up you're going with it. So I just keep lowering it till it's right where I want it. I want them behind the flowers, not way up high in the air. But I don't want it as high as that rope handle. I mean, it's all up to you, however you want to design your arrangement. I don't want them hid, but I want them to just be kind of married together. And then I try to center these, but when you get to making it, and more of these are putting these in, these will that will readjust on you to a different area that you didn't put them. You can always just go back, and sometimes it's best to stand back a ways and look and see what moved on you. Is it where you really wanted it? Because they will move. Just touching them. Okay. Now these have these longer sticks mixed in there, and they only give you so many, so try to get them where I want them. And I want the tall ones. You want the taller ones more in this area. Unless you want it to come way out here, you can angle them out here. But I kind of put the third one in like this, so I've got the taller one up here and the shorter ones out here to come out on the sides to soften that edge. Then now where I've ripped it off of that stem, come in there and clean that up a little. And you may want to poke you another hoe in there. I hope you can see. Put my glue on there. Sometimes I put way too much glue. I know I do because I go through it so fast. Okay. Now while that glue is still warm, work it where you need it to before it freezes up on you, or seizes up. Because that glue will hold pretty tight and it's very difficult to get them back out. I've had customers ask me, are your flowers removable so they can reuse the basket? I design them so they're not, because I don't want them outside in the wind. Of course, you don't want these type of flowers here. This needs to be under a covered porch area, out of the wind, the elements, the rain. Well, not the wind, but you know, they don't need to be wet. And once again, I lost what I was trying to explain to you because I got to worry about the fact these. Oh, they asked me if the flowers were removable so they could reuse the basket. If you buy a basket from me and you want to reuse it, I would say that you need to go in here, pull the front and the back of the top of the frame, you know, this wire frame that's coming across here. Just grab the front and the back, pull it apart a little bit off, get that glue to disconnect off of that foam, that floral foam, and then the foam block should just come out of there all with the florals in it, one piece. And then you can do whatever you would like to do with your basket. So, okay. Now I need one for this side. See, these sticks need to go towards the back kind of. I mean, you want some flow in between, but work these shorter flowers towards the outer edge. And this one, see what I mean? Sometimes you get flowers that are missing pieces. I have a hard time when I go to the store. I want to pick up all the pieces that are on the floor and find where they go and put them back on. Does anyone else do that? I mean, sometimes you just have to give up, and I just lay it there beside all the rest of them and hoping whoever's working there can find where they belong and reattach them, because I just hate it. If someone else comes along and doesn't pay attention and buys that, just like I do, and then they're missing their pieces. So it's good to save your pieces too when they fall off, in case you use that arrangement again. Like if I don't find where this piece goes, then I will have it. It didn't go to the piece that I just cut off. I almost thought I saw where it went. It could have come off of another one, and it was just laying down inside all the little leaves, waiting for me to come along. Okay, trim the ends off. You need to make your side pieces shorter in length than the middle height. Drill me another hoe, or puncture me a hoe. Sometimes you don't have some needle nose pliers. These stems, depending on what floral you have used, I don't remember exactly what these come off of, but that was my best stem. I favor that one when I don't want to throw them away, but I'm like, you can't save every one of them. But as long as I got plenty enough for backup, that's good. Okay. Now, you want to do your best to try to make it even with the other side, which I'm not going to say I'm going to get this one there. Sometimes you don't notice what needs to be done until you're totally done with it, thinking you're totally done with it. You take it outside, you take that photo, you're standing out there both, you know, shooting pictures, you get inside, you put them on the computer to upload them. Then you see where you should have critiqued it a little more. You should have adjusted this or adjusted that. And I get so frustrated. I don't even want to post a picture, but then I'm like, no, it's better to post it and go back and change it later than to not put anything up on your shop available. Someone else may not have been so picky as you were. But we can be too picky and pick ourselves to death, being so particular. Okay. I feel like I know I've got an even span here going around, spraying around. But I'm probably going to have to come back in. I've got another, I bought 2 of these. So just buy 2 of these. They're just cream wildflowers. And then buy you 1 bushel of these tan or beige cream peonies. And then just 1 bushel. I don't know what they would call this one, I'm sorry. I haven't worked, it's been a whole year since fall. Last year when I worked with that, I had it all down in my mind. I guess I should have looked that up before I started video, and I apologize. But I may come back in here later after I get all this in the background, kind of in between, and see where I need to stick some more in for filler. And that's another one of my problems is I don't know when to stop sometimes. Sometimes I think, don't get carried away. You need to just quit right there. You're good. You're good. Just keep it safe. You're putting too many in. And then I go to take the pictures and I'm like, no, you shouldn't have talked yourself out of that. You should have made it as full as possible. Now, if you can see these leaves here, they've got, I don't know if it's just a cheaper material that they made it out of. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's little frayed, they're not smooth along the edges. It's just fraying out. And sometimes I'll go in there and try to trim them up. But you can only get so much of it. And then you think you've got it. And you come back later and you realize, oh, there's some more raggedy looking than you thought. So that's your choice. You can either pull these off. This is why I say leaves that slide off. You can just pull them off, save them for another project. Or if you don't like that style leaf, then you can go ahead and just discard them. But if I leave them on there, they will blend in the back. And they will block some of that light that's flowing through here. You know, I don't want my flowers too clustered together like they're just smashed together. You want some space between them. Plus, I'm probably going to come back in and put some of these in between them. But these leaves can be filler. If they're hid back here, you don't like them, and they're back here hid, they're serving another purpose. Or you can slide them all the way up if you do like them, to have that shade. I do like this shade of leaf. I just don't like the fraying parts. So sometimes I'll just go ahead and put them in, and then the leaves that are visible out there in sight, get my scissors and go to town on them. So, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work the back and line me up a bunch for the backdrop, and then I'm going to come in and put them, I mean, don't make them perfectly in a line. They're not soldiers. Nothing grows like that unless someone planted stuff straight in a line. Sometimes I don't like that. Sometimes I do. It just depends. I'm talking about real things outside in people's yards. All right. this is a good time right now. You can see up in here, you see all this foam here. This is your mechanics, how it's put together. You don't want that to be seen. You don't want people to know how that was put in there. How did they do that? So, get you some more foam, or moss. Just get you a little small amount, kind of stretch it out. You can see all the little pieces are falling everywhere. Just work that in there right now. Now's the time to get that in there, between there, because if I go in here and put all these on the back of here, I won't be able to get in there. And you think that those are going to hide it, that you could lower these leaves down and hide that foam. You'd be surprised. And how are you not to know that your guest in your home or your whoever else is inspecting your basket, your customers, are not going to kind of separate that apart? And out of curiosity, I would. If I bought this basket and I wanted to recreate it for myself, I would be curious. I would try to look in there and see. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't let people know, but just for a visual, it just looks better that that foam is covered up. There's not foam outside growing. That's not a natural thing. It shouldn't be there. So, just keep putting it where you feel like now is the time to get behind up in there. You don't got to totally cover it at this moment, but just getting the majority of it up in there. We'll get that laid in place where it needs to be while you have access to it. A lot easier. Okay, now I've got to decide, do I want my leaves down here or up here? I kind of want them down lower because it's going to help, but I don't want them all down lower. So I may mix them back and forth when I go and put these in. I'll probably have them arranged differently. Okay, I'm going to put my main one in top. From the front of the basket, where the tip of this is right now, should be up above enough so you can view it. If I turn this around and show you, I'm wondering if this one, I don't think I can cut them any longer. Well, yeah, I can. This is a short one. I'm going to pick another one in this that is way taller for that back middle piece. You can see this bush, how they have varying heights. So I'm going to cut me off one that is taller. And when it's back here, you can kind of hold it back behind. Just get a feel for how much you need to go down in that foam with glue to hold it. And I'm not going to want it that tall. I'm going to want it almost as tall as my white flowers. Sometimes you'll want to go higher than that depending on what floral you're using. But there is a big empty space right there. And I want this to be not only I guess serve as a filler. That's basically what it is, even though it's pretty big. It does have a natural, well, not natural, but it has a smaller piece. I don't know, they wanted to put these on there to make it look natural, but to me, they're really scraggly looking little extra pieces, but they help. Kind of softens that so you don't go straight from a cluster to a wire. It does help. It does serve its purpose. So, and I want, do you want this, has this bend in it? I mean, you can't bend that up there. There's no wire on the tip of that. The wire only goes to about right there. I kind of angle them so they're coming towards me because I'm going to put it in the back, but I'm going to tilt it back, and then that's going to be going more upwards. But you need to move these up and down where you want them at. I can move this later in the back if I want. But I'm going to want that to kind of fill that gap right there. So I could trim that wire down a little bit more. Put your glue on it. And I don't know if you can see how much glue I got on it, but you just get you enough. Turn it towards you like you want it. Find where you want to put it Just start in the middle, kind of, and turn it while you can, and slide it before that glue starts taking a hold. I think I want that about right there. Okay, that piece I cut earlier is still a little bit too short, so I'll give me another one that's this long. Turn it towards me. And just start putting in. You can turn it around now and just start kind of spacing them out how I want them. Sometimes I try to do at least 3 of them pretty much the same height. Now right now I can't see if it's from the front view, if it's really filling that gap, but it'll be okay. Because I can come back later and add more. That's why sometimes it's good to go ahead and buy more than you think you will need. Because that's one thing that's so aggravating when you get home and wished you would have. And see, I'm going to go ahead and try to trim that up a little. Probably needs more trimming, but get the majority of it right now in case I don't see it later. Don't come back and take care of it. You know, if you go down too far, just pull it back up real quick before it dries. And since these are wires, you can come in even after it does dry. If I need to bend it over a little bit more, I will be able to. Right now it's pretty flexible because that glue hasn't set up. Now I'm going to take I probably could do another. I get ahead of myself sometimes. Don't you ever want to just hurry and see how something's going to look so you quickly do another part of your project before you really should? I want this one to kind of curve down. I'm going to go in and put that in my phone. See, I need to get another one right there, but for right now, I want to hurry up and get that visual in there. And now I see 4 of my leaves are really fraying right there. I think it's really just from them touching them too much. I hope everyone in the process it takes to get it from the person who made it until it gets to us to buy it. Okay, I might as well go ahead and do my other side. And I know this leaf is going to be really viewable since it's on the side there. Sometimes I feel like I work for the people that make the flowers. I'm sorry. Our dog. He loves to let me know if something's going on out there. Even though I tell him it's okay. Don't worry about it. Okay. Now this one pretty much is going straight up. It's not got that curve. But that's okay. I don't know if I want... See, this one has a pretty good curve to it. I want one that's a slight curve, since I'm putting it on the side. That one's straight. You just have to go through. Well, that one's, that poor little guy, he's going to have to be down in there hid. I think I'm going to pick me another one and curve to it. And of course, you see that leaf, how much string sticking out on it? You guys are probably saying, just take the leaves off. And this one maybe curved too much. Slide that up in there so it'll soften it. I know not everything is even in real life, but And I don't want them leaves looking like two horns sticking out on the side. We'll have to come in with some more. Something to draw your eye away from that. But you don't want your arrangement looking all out of shape either. You want it to have the flow to it. A line. I want mine to have this curve going on right here. That's what I look for. Okay. I need to come back and put these two in that I had mentioned. So time to do that. Sometimes I just feel to see if I can find that thumb. Okay. On to the other side. Oh, mercy. That leaf is really frayed out. Cut it shorter. We're getting close, guys. Don't give up on down. Just gonna let you know what I'm going to do after I get that full as I like it. I take this ribbon here. It's wired burlap. You can get this at Hobby Lobby too. Get it when it's on sale. I measure, wrap it around so it overlaps itself and cut it to length. What I do is, since I'm going to, most people, well, can't say it that way. Everyone has their own taste, what they like. I know some of the younger generation doesn't care for a lot of bows on things. Sometimes I don't. I'm like, no. But I try to give up the bow, and I'm like, it's serving its purpose. It's hiding that thumb right there. Some arrangements I make, I will go in, just take little bits and pieces of my Spanish moss and try to put I'll let you know, on my glue pot. I have a little, I guess you could call it, it's not a chopstick, it's a skewer. And the poor thing's been in here so much, you see how black the tip is? I keep it in my glue pot in case I need to put a little dab of glue somewhere. I could use my glue gun. See, I have one. I think sometimes it's what you get used to using. But if you don't want the bow on there, you can go in there, add you some glue, tuck you in some moss on that the best you can. Not make it obvious that you got a big bunch of moss right there in that one square area where that foam is. But push it up in there to disguise that. But that does take a lot of time, extra work when you're trying to make a basket. So this is my go-to, is to wrap it, and depending on where you want to place your bow, if you want it in the middle or you want it on the side, is where I overlap this so that when I make my bow, not where the middle of the bow is, where the knot will be, but the loops coming out of the bow on each side. I line this seam up so it's behind one of those, and it's not, you can't see it that well. Unless, if you're pulling it apart, looking at it under there, you'll see it. But I'll put this line here where it's going to be underneath one of those loops on my bow, so it'll be hid. If you're going to put the bow in the middle, you're going to have to move that line over here where that loop is going to be on your bow. But if you're going to put it on the side, your loop's going to come out here. That way you don't got no seams on the back side. Some people have glass doors, or their front door will have a window, big window in front of it. They hang it on, and that's visible from the inside of the home. So, and I don't know right now, since I told you this is my first time making this design, I don't know if I'm going to want to put my bow on the side or in the middle. That's another preference of everyone. So I'm just going to quickly make me my bow here. What I do is take your wire, make sure your wire, you take your ribbon, make sure your wire is not on the front side, which I've done that before. Put a bow together and go, oh my goodness, have to take it back apart. But I'll get me a piece big enough to make me a loop, but yet have a tail long enough so I can trim it wherever I want when I get done. I don't want to waste too much of it. So, but I'll just lay it across there, come back and go over the top. Make it right about where I want it. Usually I'll hold my hand up here and put the palm of my hand, the bottom of my hand down at the end of it, and then put my fingers up, and I'll go a little bit above my fingers to get the size that I want. That's a little bit too big, so then I'll just readjust it right here. Get it about where I want it. I want it a little bit bigger than my hand, because when I go to squeeze this together for the middle of the bow, it just seems like it shortens those loops, pulls them in and shortens them. And looky there, I don't know if you can see, but burlap has natural fibers in there that sometimes I don't want showing. It just looks like a dark brown speck or string. I've probably wasted a lot of burlap trying to hide those. Some of them are okay. Some of them, it's just too noticeable that it's so different from the rest of the, like this one has a, sometimes you can take a pin or a needle and go in there and work that out of there. It's just entwined in, and just pull it out. Okay. So, sorry, I'm trying to get a visual of where I want my bow. If I want it on the side, I used to do them at an angle, but then it just seemed more straight as I went through the years. It might look good in the middle, but because I've got this bigger flower down at the bottom, I think I'm going to go to the side again. You'll see all of my baskets on my shop are pretty much to the side. We kind of do that in life. We get used to doing something. Okay. I'm just going to cut this off. I'll have to trim the ends. I'm jumping ahead to making this because I just feel like I'm taking too long trying to show you guys how I put my baskets together, in case you want to design one for yourself. Now, this is floral wire. I just bought this at Hobby Lobby too. It's 26 gauge. It works for me right now. I mean, if I go designing other things, I may buy a different thickness. But just cut me off the strip. Oh, it's probably maybe 7-8 inches long. Could be 6. I trim a lot off when I get done, but I want to have enough to be able to work with. I keep pinching that together. Make sure the where you've pinched it, it's laying like you want it to look, like the edge. I'll smash it down right there and hold it. And then I wrap my wire around there. I don't know if you can see. And then I just grab it and twist it as tight as you can. Sometimes you can take your pliers and twist that, but if you twist too hard, it will break on you. But get it on there secure enough so it'll hold. And leave that wire on there because you're going to use that. I cut it, probably 8 inches would be good for you. So that way you don't have to measure it, just eyeball it. That way you have at least that much sticking up. I have probably 2.5 or 3 inches. Probably, it could be close to 3, but probably at least 2.5 inches of extra so I can attach it on my basket. And then I just go ahead and work the bow a little bit. Kind of put my hand in those loops. Don't pull it too tight, or that wire will pop right back off or come loose. You'd think, oh, you should have had that attached tighter, but it still wants to. You go pulling too hard, it will come right back undone on you. Okay, you'll still have to fluff it up when you get done, but at least I get it like I want it before I put it on there. Now I'm just going to lay him to the side. I'm not going to trim the ends yet till I get him on there, or her, and then I'll cut him at an angle. Some people like to dovetail. I just cut mine at an angle. We'll lay that down until we get this on here all the way. Okay, so you make sure that this is just at an angle because that was the end of my ribbon that I worked with last time on some other project. But I just cut it straight when I go to cutting a piece off. Work it so you know it's pretty much, the seam is going to be where you need it. Right now it's too far over, because when I go to put my bow on here, the loop is not really extending out that far to cover over that. So I want to slide it, work it a little bit, and slide it back so the seam is going to be closer, not actually in the middle, but a little bit closer, so it'll be hid behind the loop. And then I'll just hold that in place, turn it over, and don't let it slide around on you so that you lose that where you want it to lay. But you need to get this in line so it's covering up. See my foam? I don't know if you can see that, but my foam is showing. So I just scoot that up a little bit, make sure I've got enough to work with. And then I'll just hold that right there. And I can turn it loose of everything now, because now it's going to stay so that when it's wrapped in the front, it will line up where I had it. Now, I just hold this over to the side here, keep it in place, back my ribbon off, and add me some glue along some of these grapevine, I want to call them twigs, but they're vine. That's why they're wrapped, because it's a continuous long piece. Just get me some strips going on here, kind of line on the top of some of them where you want that ribbon to securely go. A lot of the baskets are just, each one has their own characteristics. Some of them are fatter vines and some of them are thinner, like this one. But mainly I just try to concentrate on the ones that's at the top of that foam block and one on the bottom edge, so it'll stay there and the one be peeking up underneath there. And be careful when you do this, depending on how much glue you applied, it may come back through those holes in the burlap and burn you. Okay. And you can see sometimes where your glue drips on the basket frame. You can peel that back off of there. See here, I've got a twig sticking up, or vine, piece of grapevine. Turn that back up. If you can see that right there. Just come in here and give it a little haircut. And later I'll come back and add more foam here to kind of blend that all in. Cover it. Yeah, for coverage. Okay. Now's the time. I'm usually laying this down on the table when I do this part. Maybe I don't know, but I know you won't be able to see that as well. I'll just come in and get a little bit of glue on my stick and add it along the edge of this. Not a whole bunch, but you need enough. And then I'll use the piece that's going to be behind first. Make sure you're covering up that foam. And your edge over here that's going to be showing is laying right where you want it. Pull that on there. And then do your other end. Same way. Put some glue along the edge of it. Probably you cannot see that, sorry. I put glue along the edge of that one. Move the leaves out of the way and just come up in there and line it up. And so it's attached over top of the other one. And kind of smash that down so the fibers may burn you. It's doing pretty good right now. You would have heard me holler. And now, time to peel glue off your skin again. What you think when you was a kid in elementary school with the Elmer's glue. Okay. Now, I want to call that a skirt. Basically, my band of ribbon that I put across there is wrapped and wrap around. And then take your bow that you've made and your two little end pieces of your wires. And if you come up in here, there's always on this basket, it's made with a wire frame. Wires going this way across every so often, and then they've got straight up wires coming up. There will be one that will be coming straight up right here. There will be one in the middle, one over here. I just come over here. You could attach it to the grapevine. You could attach it to the top wire rim. I don't, because then it's able to slide back and forth. If you get one of my well, I glue my bows down. I was going to say you could rearrange your bow to put in the middle if it's on the side, and that's not where you wanted it, but it will be glued. So it may not so easily. But I'll take my shorter one and bring it forward. My longer one, I'll make like a shepherd's hook, fishing hook, shepherd's hook. And come in here and hook that, move those sticks down a little bit, and then hook that in there. Sorry, I'm trying. If I have this laying down on the table, I actually have to take my glasses off and get in there and really look and see where I've got that wire coming. And then, which I may hold it up here. You probably can't see that up in there. But I took that this little wire sticking that comes upwards. I've wrapped the floral wire around it, grab my pliers and get that end that's sticking up and pull it to feed it through there. Snug your bow up tight to your basket. And now take your other end and twist them. Attach it on there. Twist it several times. You can hold it with the pliers and twist it if you want. I'll just do it by hand. And it's up to you how much you need. If you want to trim any of that extra wire off of there, you need some of it to be able to poke it back down inside the basket. I will usually, this is when I feel like I'm wasting, I'll just come in here and cut that off, and then that lets me know how much I wasted wire. I mean, it's usually about an inch, half an inch left, but they're too short to really do anything else with them, but I don't want too much extra. And you would think that that extra piece of wire is not going to matter in weight when you go to shipping, but I feel like you use too much glue, too much wire, every little bit adds up. Just tuck it back down inside your basket so it doesn't poke anyone. If they go to trying to play with the flowers and readjust them, they don't touch that wire sticking up. Now I take my bow, kind of work your loops where you need them. And now is the time when you make something and you have it just like you want it. You put it in that box to ship it off to somebody or give it to someone as a gift, and it just gets all smushed and around like that. Does not look very pleasing. So this is why I said you probably won't be able to change the placement of my bow, because I go ahead and put a little dab of glue back here or here, but I attach that so it stays in place where I want it. Now the actual loop may get kind of smushed around, not like you intended for it to be, but at least it doesn't get all lopsided and all messed up in shipping, or just on your front door if the wind blows it, or someone else comes along and says, oh, how pretty, and they play with it. Some little kids might want to touch it and play with it, and it get bent and you not realize it until it's too late. Guess already come and see. I probably got way too much right there. Just wrap it all back off of there. Take it off of there. Too much, too much, too much. Hurry, hurry, hurry. There's your blooper right there. Now I got glue to peel off my fingers again. Okay. Let that one kind of dry a little bit. And it holds it there too, so when you go to fluff your bow, you make sure the wires are smooth and not all crooked. What I mean by crooked, I'm not saying it correctly, but these wires up in here, they'll get all smushed in like that, and I like it to be smooth. Maybe you might like it to look all crinkly instead of the smooth look. Okay, usually I'll try to go in here and get that close to wherever that seam was back behind, so the glue will hold the bow down over that area. Make sure you have your loop where you want it when you go to attach it to. Okay, now at least the bow will want to stay where I want it at. Okay, I know I don't have all this filled in as much as it needs to be, or you could leave it this simple if you want. Right now, we've got same color rope, same color the easel coming up here to where that it's all blending. But if you get it on a dark colored door, you're going to see a lot of dark color coming through there, and it's going to be noticeable that that is not got quite enough in it that it needs to have. Okay, next thing, now you need to decide how long do you want your tails. I think I do want these longer, so I'm going to leave them down here. I'm just going to cut my angles out. Sometimes this ribbon will get fuzzy on the end. You just want to clean that up. You can either dovetail it or cut you an angle. I'm going to cut me an angle. They don't have to be exactly the same, but pretty close. Some of mine are longer and shorter than each other. Just depends on the look you're going for. Now you can take this and you can put waves in it to kind of curl that up a little bit if you would like. Just up to you. Whatever look you're going for. Because I keep saying 50 million times. But it really is. It's up to you. It's your design. Or even if you buy one of these baskets off my shop, when you get it, just smooth it out or crinkle them up, whichever way you prefer. Some of my designs are shorter ribbons, so you don't have enough for shorter tails. And sometimes this burlap can, looks like he needs a haircut too. He'll have little longer pieces sticking out. Okay. Now I need to decide which filler do I want. I think I might put some more that needs to be up in there. Okay. So just work your piece. I want some more of this green stem back up in there too. Bring that down a little bit. So sometimes if you trim your ends a little better, they'll be sharper and or more sturdier. Because if you rip them apart, that wire gets really thin towards the bottom end, and it doesn't want to poke in the foam. Floral foam very well. It's not sturdy enough. Sometimes you have to fill around in there and find a blank spot on that foam. You're not hitting another flower. Or try to peek down in there and see if you got it in the area where it'll go in, and I don't. You see? I'm pulling a lot of that foam back up out of there, or moss. Back down in. I need to reattach that. See how I've moved everything around? That's why I told you your pieces will get readjusted in the process of trying to create it. It really needs to have a hole drill down in here, but probably my problem is I'm going through all that moss. You can get in there, put some pressure on it, and then just refluff your flowers back up after you get it in. We want it to have kind of an airy look, but yet we don't want big gappy holes in one spot and look like it shouldn't be like that. You have to put another. I need to put one on the other side. Well, sometimes you can spread these out and get some of the white going where you need it. I guess I do need a. Tell you what, I have a smaller, you can buy them in a smaller pick. That's what I had to do last year when they ran out of the bushes. I was worried I was not going to be able to get any. It costs more to buy them by a pick than it does a bush. But when that's all that's available, or you only need a very, very small amount of something that you know you're not going to use, again, it's good to have it available. Trying to decide where I want this. Whew. Watch your glue. If you wait too long to stick that in there, make sure it's not dripping down where it shouldn't be. Yes, I get rough with these baskets. Sometimes you got to. And then sometimes you add some more white in another area and then you're off balance again, and then you need to keep adding white to balance it out. I could actually put some more of the peonies in there, but I don't really have enough of the smaller ones. I don't want to get... Right now I've got a triangle shape going on, and I don't know if I want to stick with that. You guys are probably seeing it way better than me because I'm too close to it. You need to back up sometimes and just take a look. I don't want them too close together like this. See what I did? I went and pulled him back off of there. Now, sometimes you have to go in here and cut the extra plastic off of that wire that the floor was attached to, just so you can put it on there. Be able to push it back down on there further. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use some of these other fillers that I was telling you about that I would do. You don't want to look like they're just layers of one, each flower just layered in You want it to look like it's blending together. I just touched my knuckle. Okay. I think I want a little bitty piece down in here. Just gotta pick which one I want. And you can tell I'm not worrying about these leaves anymore. I'm chilling afraid off. Probably until I get to a finish point. Let me see if I notice them. Okay, now I probably need some more white. I have some shorter pieces, so you can pull your shorter ones towards the front. So you'll have white protruding out where you want it. And I probably stuck him down in there too much. I'm going to okay. I'm sure I will continually play around and try to keep readjusting where I don't like certain things. I do like these to wave a little bit. So, what do you think, guys? And you know what I just noticed? That's why it's good sometimes to step back and take a look. That I did not finish it. I thought I was done. I realized I have not covered up the mechanics back here yet. Just take you some pieces, tuck it down in there best you can. Sometimes you can use your little sticks. These little, sometimes there's little pieces on their floral stems and put little extra little cute little things on them. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, their little fringe. Try to play around with them, make sure I'm not smashing them down in there, that I still have some that I could pull the little fringe out, make them look cute. Not every floral has those, but a lot of the ones I buy do. And then on your two sides, you want to put a generous amount. Just take a wad of it, put it down in there. Okay, I would answer that, but that is a spoon call. Y'all get those? Of course, we all get them. I'm going to stick this other side, kind of let some of them hang out over the edge. You may want to go back into these leaves that you're seeing. I mean, you can trim these off and then they will just, somehow, you've got pieces that are frayed again. Just from touching them and laying them down in, up against the door or in the shipping box. So if you guys get one of my baskets and you see something like that, just trim it off. Please. Make it look good. Unless it just doesn't really bother you at all. And I apologize if I've left them on there. But I tried. Clean them up. Or if you get one of these baskets that has piece sticking out you don't care for. No, you shouldn't use your scissors on that, but that was such a small piece, and I've already ruined those scissors by cutting ribbon with wire in them. But y'all have your favorite pair of scissors. These were supposed to be designated only for material. But no more. Okay, I would say if we want to stay simple and not go too much with it, you could leave it at this point right here. It's up to you. If you want to put more, see, my shirt's kind of like if you was to put it on a darker door, you can see through there if there's gaps open that you want to cover up and fill in. But I will keep playing with it and critiquing it because I just see things if I stand back and keep looking at it, or when I zoom in on the pictures. But there is your... I have a hard time knowing what to title these as. I want to call them a door basket wreath. But I'm like, no, a wreath is a circle. No, a wreath is not a circle. A wreath is whatever you hang on your door or wall. So that's not the correct definition either. You can call them a hanging basket, but then that makes me think of the ones you hang outside on your porch and put plants in, that real plants that trail over and hang. So it's up to you guys what you feel like you want to call them. It would help me to know so I can put it on the keyword search. It would help. The front door basket, front door hanging basket, door hanger. Those words all fit in other items too, so it's hard, but it's my basket wreath right there. Make your own. Put your own florals in there, your own colors. Change up your ribbon to go with whatever style you have in your home. You can hang it on the wall. You can put it above your fireplace. Hang it in the entryway. Hang it in the hallway. If you have a portrait wall and you need some type of green mirror floral to soften that area. There's so many different ways you could hang it. I would suggest this one to go in a protected area if you put it outdoors. You know, do not have it in direct sunlight and rain. And there you go. If you don't want to make your own, I'll have a link below that you can click. And it'll take you straight to my Etsy shop. I probably will go ahead, I don't know, may keep it. We will see. You'll have to go see my shop, see if it's even there. I mean, even if I do put it, it won't be immediately, but anyways, thanks for staying with me. I know this video is going to be too long. I'll try to shorten it down. It's kind of hard when you're going through a tutorial to show, because I know good and well that I did not give all the steps exactly and show you exactly as I was doing it. So there's a purpose for that and a reason. You don't want to tell everyone everything, but yet you do, because you want them to be able to recreate it. And I'm sure you're going to learn your own hints and tricks that you do when you put yours together. So, thanks so much. And thanks for coming on my channel today. Bye.